if it's in the game, XFG, it's in the game.
Yo, Chico, XFactor Gaming here, and what's going on, guys? This is another Tiermaker video. In this one, we'll take a look at all of the WWE games that have been made, from Microleague Wrestling to the one I shall not mention. Now let's just get that one right out of the way. Automatic F tier. Everything was wrong with this game. 2K, you blew it! Now, I'm going to go backwards since we're doing it that way. 2K19 is a solid A tier from me. Why? Had everything I wanted. The roster was amazing. The controls were simple to get going, and there was a lot of other stuff in it that you could do. If you have the PC versions of these, they're a lot better, but we're ranking them based off of the console versions for the 2K game from 15 on. Now I'm going to go get the other F tier game out of the way. That's a WWE 2K15. That was way too stripped down for me to enjoy. I realized why they had to do it, but it just wasn't all there for me. Now let's get the rest of the WWE 2Ks out of the way. 18, solid C tier. The career mode kind of ruined it. It was too long and too grindy. And now on to 2K17, solid B tier. I'm not going to make a joke of the only thing wrong with it being who's on the cover, because that's not right. There was too much right with it to give it a low grade for me, so that's exactly why. Now let's go to 2K16. Another B tier. Steve Austin on the cover, that was a good one for me. The career mode was just meh. That's another reason I graded 15 down on the F tier. Career mode is a big thing for me, as is Create a Wrestler. 2K14, that is a solid S tier. Everything went right with that one. Now the early 2K games are probably going to get high grades anyway. So 13, CM Punk on the cover, Attitude Era mode, even though I wasn't around. I was watching WCW at that point. Anyway, A tier. Next up, we're going to go to WWE 12. And this one, to me, gets a solid A tier. Why? The roster, the DLC, and the career mode could have been better. But the career mode could have been better, but I think they did what they could with it. And now, I'm going to go to we're going to do WWE's Game Boy games now. Survivor Series. As much as I want to put it as a C tier, I can't. It's a D tier. Superstars. C, Survivor Series. D tier. Superstars 2, however, if that's on this list. There it is. I just put Superstars 2 on the wrong tier. That's going to be a C tier for me. It was too easy of a game, honestly. And this one, the original Superstars does get a D tier. Sorry, Superstars, but no. Anyway, Wwf Wrestlemania on the NES, that's an F tier. That's just a lazy cash grab to me. There was no audience, there were no entrance themes. Don't tell me they couldn't do it because the Game Boy was able to do it. The other NES games were able to do it. Every WWE game after it was able to do it. So don't tell me that there were no entrance themes because they couldn't do it. That's Super WrestleMania. Jenna, all versions of Super WrestleMania for me get a D tier. I'm sorry, the graphics just killed it for me. That and the roster just wasn't my thing. And there were no finishers. And now, WrestleMania 21. Much as I enjoyed it, there was too much wrong with it. You give it a C or D, I'm giving it an F tier. Main thing wrong, the roster was too small. But for an Xbox game, the graphics were just horrid. Speaking of things that belong on the F tier, every version of WWF Raw, even the moddable ones, everything was wrong with that. The graphics were terrible, the controls were terrible, there were only 2 gameplay modes. I've already done an entire video on why I thought WWF Raw was bad, so I'll link that in the iCard up above. Go check that out. And another F tier game. Actually, I don't think there really are anymore. Wrestlemania Challenge is next. I love this one. And because I feel like it did everything right, it emulated the Fire Pro style very well of the kind of diagonal ring plane, which was kind of what do you call it, unique for WWE games, because none of them after it did that. I'm gonna give that a B tier for uniqueness. And my next game that I want to deal with is the Great WrestleFest. I'd be shot at if I didn't give this an S tier. It goes in the S tier, flat out. Now, the obscure WWF Rage in the Cage. I may be one of the only ones, but I actually love this game. It's got everything. The FMV cut sequences, the 20-man roster, the Royal Rumble, cage matches. The only thing wrong, I think, with this was the FMV cutscenes were a little too grainy. I'm not going to knock it off for that and put it in the D tier. I'm going to put it in the C instead. Now, WWF Raw, all versions. Not including the crappy WWF Raw that we got on PC, not to be confused with that one. This one gets a B tier, and let me tell you why. The graphics, you could tell who was who. The music was on point for about 3/4 of the superstars. You had all kinds of different game modes, Royal Rumble, Survivor Series. That was the first game that came from Survivor Series, I do believe. There was just so much that I could mention that I'm not going to here because it would take all day. Let's move on. WWF All Stars / WWE Battlegrounds. I'll put those in one. It would get an S tier if I were doing this on All Stars alone. I'm not. I was going to get an A tier. Wrestlemania 19, I believe is what that is. Solid C. It was alright. Just, it could have been much better than it was. Now, not to be confused with the other versions of Royal Rumble, this is the Dreamcast / arcade version. This game was alright. I'll give it a C tier. WWF No Mercy is an auto S tier. I'd get shot at if I didn't put it there. WrestleMania the arcade game, all versions, S tier. It was just too unique for its time not to. I mean, this is one of the games that WWF did well in this era. WWF Wrestlemania NES. F tier. What is this? That says WrestleMania 2, but I don't think that's the NES WrestleMania. It's not. So I'm gonna put this back down here so we figure out what the heck it is. So this is WrestleMania. This must be the PC version. So yeah, I'm gonna group it in the F tier with the other one. This is Smackdown vs. Raw 2010, C tier for me. No wait, that's 2011. Still C tier. WrestleMania X8, I'm gonna give a B. I can't really say why because I don't remember much about playing this. I remember playing it in a band function before a football game, but that's about all I remember. Day of Reckoning. You know what? If I'm putting Day of Reckoning 2 in the A tier, I gotta do it to its original. I haven't gotten to Day of Reckoning 2 yet. Yeah, I believe I did put that in the S tier though. No, I didn't. There's only 4 games in this tier. Let's see here. I don't think I've gotten a Day of Reckoning 2 yet, honestly. What's this? This is... Oh, the arcade version of Superstars. I have to put this up there in the S tier with the WrestleFest. I'd probably get shot at if I didn't, honestly. In Your House, one of my personal favorites, but it's not well received. Just because it's a personal favorite doesn't mean it's going on a high tier, C tier. It was just a reskin of WrestleMania the arcade game. That's the only reason it's a C tier. WrestleMania 2000, another S tier classic, just like No Mercy. And I'm also putting Smackdown 2 up there for the same reason. King of the Ring. I'm sorry, D tier. It's just not a good game. The original Smackdown, I can't go hard on this one. I'm gonna put it in the C tier along with a bunch of these others. Attitude, Controlled kind of killed it for me. But I'm not gonna grade it into the D tier for that. That goes into the C. Let's see, Raw 2, A tier. I love this game. I'd still play it today if I had a copy that worked. Road to WrestleMania. This is a good, solid Game Boy game. B tier. Smackdown, Just Bring It. D tier. It's just... I'm gonna do an entire video on why that game deserves a D tier rating. Anyway, WrestleMania X8 Game Boy. I'm gonna put it in there with Road to WrestleMania, I think. Here Comes the Pain, yes, that's an S tier. I'm not going to give it anything less. Warzone, C Attitude, I'm putting it in the C tier. Here's Day of Reckoning right here. We already did DOR2, it looks like. Yeah, it's going to go same tier as DOR2, A tier. Smackdown vs. Raw 2006, A tier as well. Shut Your Mouth. That's going with Here Comes the Pain, I think. That's got to be an S tier. Smackdown vs. Raw 2007 S tier. It's one of my personal favorites, even if GMO's too easy. SVR 08. As much as I hate to do this, the game is just broken. Broken. F tier. SVR 10. And solid B. SVR 2009, I'll give a C, and we have one more in the C category that I can do. Legends of Wrestling. Wait, we can do more? Cool. Okay. Legends of Mania gets a B tier. Smackdown vs. Raw's gotta get the B. It started a great series. Betrayal, I'm gonna put in the C tier. Royal Rumble's got a SNES Royal Rumble, Genesis Royal, any version of the console Royal Rumble not named the Dreamcast version, B tier. European Rampage, I've never played this one. I've heard about it. Actually, I think I have played it. I'm giving this an F tier. It was not even playable. Steel Cage Challenge, I think, is underrated. I'm going to give it a C. And Microleague, I haven't played much, and because of that, it's a D. And that, ladies and gents, is my WWF Games Tiermaker. I want to thank you guys for watching, and I will see you again soon.